What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I am Brad.
And I am
Venom.
Thomas. No, I'm Miguel, guys.
Thomas and Venom. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. We're coming at you on Saturday night, episode number
Saturday
75
night.
in your face. Or your
In your
ears,
face!
or however you like to experience our content. But this is our 75th episode. Lots of stuff we are talk about on the docket tonight. We're going to talk mainly why the mob didn't work in Halloween Kills. This is not going to be a Halloween Kills rant session. That is not what we're doing. We'll get there. You'll understand. We'll see. We're also going to talk Daredevil's big MCU return. Some news broke last night or the night before. About Daredevil coming back to Disney Plus in a brand new series. And we're also going to review Our Father on Netflix, which I shouldn't even say review. I feel weird saying we're going to review it because it's not. It's a review of the documentary, but
we're gonna talk about the movie as a whole.
It's a whole other can of worms too.
Yeah. Brad said, he said, hey man, do me a favor and watch Our Father, and then we'll do a show about it. I said, you know what? Sure, why not? It's a Blumhouse documentary. I did not know that it was going to be that type of documentary. I thought it was just like a documentary about Blumhouse Studios. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. I read that description and I looked at my girlfriend. I was like, okay, this is not the way I was thinking, but we're gonna watch it. So,
what did Sierra like it?
Can we say we liked it?
I mean,
I feel weird saying that.
Yeah, I don't mean like it. I mean, it was a good documentary. It was
a good documentary.
It gives you the heebie-jeebies in the worst.
It was a very story-driven documentary, and I will say that it will make you.
You have a documentary that's not about the point.
Yeah, but it will make you shiver in your spine. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's not fun. Hope you guys are doing well. By the way, I saw this little tidbit of news a little couple hours ago. The official trailer, not the teaser trailer. What we've gotten is the teaser trailer right now. The official trailer for Marvel Studios' Thor: Love and Thunder is being dropped on Monday during Game 4 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals. So during the game, they're going to, I don't know, because there's going to be a ton of people watching. Honestly, it's the same reason they drop, big trailers during the Super Bowl and stuff, because everybody's eyes are glued to their TV at that moment. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's I don't know. I think it makes sense that that they would drop it then. And I'm sure it'll drop on YouTube and everything else at the same exact time. Man, I really want to see Gore. I really do. Like, I was kind of bummed we didn't get to see Gore at all. I didn't get to see any of that Christian Bale goodness in the teaser trailer, or even his voice. Like, it would have been cool in the teaser trailer if we would have just gotten the voice, but
this ain't Avengers Age of Ultron. This ain't Endgame. I don't want to, and we ain't gonna hear his voiceover depicting the movie.
Well, I don't know.
There are no strings attached.
If you remember our episode, I don't even know if it was an episode. It might have been a stand. I don't know. A couple weeks ago, we talked some of the figure leaks and stuff that we've seen for Gore, and some of the different action figures that are showing up in stores across the US and Canada, and but Gore did not look very good. He didn't look like awesome comic book accurate Gore. And Gore is if you're familiar with Gore the God Butcher in the Marvel comic books, he's a cool villain. Like, he kills gods. Like, that's his MO. That's his main deal. And he uses a weapon that was actually made. Is it Null? I think it's Null, who is the god of all the symbiotes. So there's even a Venom / Spider-Man tie in there and all that. Like, it's cool. But especially, I was kind of bummed seeing the pictures of him because he's so cool looking and he's so weird alien-ish looking. He doesn't have a nose, a traditional nose. He's just kind of got like two slits. He's all white. He wears a black hood and things like that. Very Voldemort-ish in the right kind of way, but the action figures look very Voldemort-ish in a wrong kind of way. He's got a big old white nose. It looks like bald Christian Bale in white makeup. That's what it looks like. Which is kind of a bummer because I think the character could be really cool. You know what I mean? And I don't know, who knows? Maybe that's not the final, maybe that's not his final form, and we might get a different look, I don't know. We'll see. But I am excited for that trailer. And hopefully get a little bit of gore in there as well.
I'm looking for all the gore. 100%. All the gore.
All the gore. Blood, guts, gore.
Yeah. Well,
Gore
one thing I am actually like really excited for the fact that like in like the little like teaser pictures that they have out running around, it has like has Mighty Thor, and it also has King Valkyrie, also has Bassett from Black Panther. That lady that was on the bottom of the picture, that's the goddess Bassett. So that'd be exciting. One thing I am curious though, if Gore the God Butcher is a god killer, like it made me think like I highly doubt Bassett would die. I don't know. I highly doubt she would. But I mean, Gore said
I don't know.
They
People
said,
are supposed to
a
die,
lot of gods are going to be dying. So I highly doubt Bassett's going to die because isn't she supposed to be in Wakanda, in like Wakanda forever?
That's probably. Honestly, I think Drax is going to die because Dave Bautista has not been.
But he ain't no god. We need gods dying.
I know, but the Guardians are going to be battling with him though.
Nah, he's still in Guardians Volume 3 though.
I know, but the Guardians are going to be battling him though.
I know, but Drax is not going to die in Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm calling that right now. I highly doubt it's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I don't know.
He just finished rapping on the set of Volume 3, dude.
But when does Volume 3 take? Does Volume 3 take place before?
I fucking highly doubt it's going to be before Love and Thunder. I highly doubt it.
Love and Thunder?
Yeah.
God, Love and Thunder.
Oh my God.
Well, it's funny because they put the little thing out, and I don't even remember. I forget. I don't know basketball. But it was a basketball player, and they're all holding basketballs, and it's got Taika Waititi and Chris Hemsworth and the lady who plays Valkyrie. I forget what her name is. And they pass a basketball to an NBA player, and he's like, "You bring the love," or no, he goes, "You bring the thunder, I'll bring the love. See you Monday." That's just like,
that was so cringe.
Who wrote that? You know what I mean?
It wasn't Taika Waititi. The NBA, I swear to God, they probably were like, you know what? We need to add our little flair in here, and then they wrote that bullshit.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Forgive me if I sound a little stuffy. I'm battling the allergies, which it's a terrible time right now. Which it just rained a lot, like all afternoon. So hopefully it dies down a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, it kind of talking Marvel, it's kind of made me think of it. We actually watched this week. I don't know why. We watched Infinity War and Endgame this week, like over the course of a couple days.
Did you like it?
We did. It was my first time watching. I'm kidding. I gotta say, and this might be blasphemy, I really think Infinity War might be the better movie. I think, and here's kind of how it is for me. I think Endgame is the more impactful, emotional movie, but Infinity War is a better movie. It's more. I think it's better put together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think that's blasphemy. I think that's really. I think that's established amongst.
I mean, I don't know.
Fans.
Like every frame in Infinity War is fantastic. Like there's never a dull moment in Infinity War. Like it's just constant people and constant. Like there's just constantly something happening in Infinity War. Endgame, we actually had some time to like sit. You know what I mean, and absorb like this apocalyptic landscape that they created. Apparently Max agrees with what I'm saying, or not Max, Milo.
The disrespect. Yeah.
I don't know.
I shouldn't even know the name of my dog.
I meant Milo. I don't know why I said Max.
But keep going.
But like even when Scott comes out of the quantum realm and like he's he sees the kid and he's like, what the hell happened here? And the kid just goes and turns around. It's like, what the, but I like seeing that. I like, as you all know, I'm an apocalypse movie guy. I like that, and I thought that was pretty cool. It was definitely the more emotional, like impactful movie. But I don't know, man. Infinity War is it's pretty hard to touch.
I would agree with you, though. I mean, Infinity War is obviously much more, how can I say? It was, in my eyes, it seemed like the most fun, if I'm being honest. Even though in-game had like time travel and all that stuff, Infinity War felt more massive in my eyes. In-game was more like an Avengers level thing.
Yeah.
But at the very end, it was obviously like the whole cinematic universe. But in Infinity War, it was just like a culmination of everyone coming back together. Because with Infinity War, we had just gotten out of Civil War, so everyone's already broken up. We just left Thor Ragnarok, where fucking I forgot the name of the place is. Where what blew up in Thor Ragnarok? I forgot the name of Thor's place.
Oh, are you talking about
That's what I thought. That place blew up, and then in Guardians of the Galaxy
what
Volume 2,
no.
died.
What am I?
So
what?
pretty much, everything's like in complete disarray.
Asgard. I
There
don't
you
know
go.
why that escaped my brain. Like both of
Yeah.
us, literally just sucking tonight. I don't know why.
But nevertheless,
Sucking
everything
hardcore tonight.
everything
We
almost
could
sounded
not
like it was
get
in
that.
complete disarray, pretty much. After the
Yes.
events of Age of Ultron, Civil War, Ragnarok, and Volume 3, everything was just out of the loop. Everything was gone. Everything was like all shattered and stuff. And then Thanos came in trying to see if he can swoop in like a toxic ex-boyfriend, and all of a sudden we all got to band together. So I thought that was more of a interesting storyline.
I don't know. There's something about the character introductions and like seeing them interact in different places and like their stories weaving together that just like it was so cool. And it was different in Endgame. Like Endgame, we had like the core group of them, like of the original Avengers with a few exceptions. But even at the end when they all show up, like it's still they weren't really talking and interacting. You know what I mean? They were all fighting. It was just different. I don't know. Infinity War just it hit different, man. It was definitely good. Art Wishwood is in the house. He says, "Hey guys, just took a hot shower and cracked open a beer. Same, my friend. Bouncing back and forth between Jumanji and Twilight. Though two good choices." He says, "What is up, Miguel? You look good. Brad, you're looking smarty fresh tonight." Yeah, these are. I kind of talked about this last week. These are blue light glasses. I actually have 20/20 vision, but I don't know. I'm light sensitive, so that's why I'm wearing some blue light glasses. So
I don't have good vision.
I feel like
but
Professor Hawk.
the reason why this is on right now is because I got a condition called fuck the sun. So yeah, there you go.
But it's nighttime now.
Yeah, well, I have a migraine.
What? Do you have a headache?
Migraine. Yeah, I got a headache, dog. That's why I got the sunglasses on. Shit.
You didn't tell me that.
No, it's good.
He said, "I thought we were talking H kills." Yeah, we are going to talk.
We are. He just got fucking sidetracked. Hella
we did.
Hard.
We got really sidetracked. So let's do this. We're gonna talk kills last. Let's start off. Our Father. If you have not seen Our Father, it is a Netflix documentary directed by Lucy Jordan. And I don't even know how to go about this. It's very uncomfortable. It's a Blumhouse-produced documentary, so it does have a little bit of a horror. It's a horror story for these poor people. I mean, I feel awful for all of these people. But essentially, I don't even know if I want to say his name because he doesn't deserve the spotlight anymore.
What notoriety is he going to get from our fucking show? And we're about to blow him up. So fuck it. Say his name. Dr. Klein. That old haggerty fuck.
Dr. Donald Klein was a very notable, reputable infertility doctor in Indianapolis, and he essentially he helped a lot of people get pregnant. But little did they know, these poor women were not being artificially inseminated with their spouse's sperm. or an anonymous donor's sperm like they were told they were being impregnated with his sperm. He was using his own specimen to impregnate them. And that is so. I mean, the thing that I think struck me even more than the disgusting aspect of what he did, the thing that got me more is the fact that these poor, like, I feel so bad for these people. Like, could you imagine living your entire, and then I mean, these people are in their 30s and 40s, and could you imagine being in your 40 years old and suddenly you discover that your dad is not really your dad? Like,
I'll be
that'd
honest,
be
guys.
awful. I
Besides
mean,
that shit, like, listen to this. It's like this. I know this is like a really like sad, like fucking like documentary about this piece of shit, Dr. Klein. But I'll be honest, this is probably one of, if I could say, the best advertisement for 23andMe.
and
Because if it
ancestry.
wasn't for 23andMe, none of this would have taken place. I'm not
Fair.
gonna lie. Because pretty
Well,
much the way it starts is this certain individual, she decided to take a 23andMe because she was just interested in
Jacoba, that's her name, Jacoba
Jacoba, yeah.
Ballard.
Jacoba Ballard decided to take
Dude,
a 23andMe,
she is a
and
badass, by
then
the
when
way.
she and when she was doing her 23andMe, she thought it'd be really cool to figure out what her lineage is because she never knew who her father was. So when she had her 23andMe, she noticed that her father was unknown on that still, but when she went through her father's lineage, it showed a shit ton more branches. She had a fuck ton more of half siblings.
Like,
So
to put
as they
it to
continued to keep moving up and like connecting with people, that branch started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it all led up to that Dr. fucking Donald Klein.
to put it in perspective, there are, I believe it said at the, don't quote me on this, I believe it said there are 94 people in and around the Indianapolis area that have been, as of now, that have been traced back to Donald Klein, which is, I don't know. At first it even goes, they met with him and they were like, just tell us why, like, like, so we can at least try to heal a little bit and try to understand, like, just tell us why. And he I don't think he could really give a good reason why, but he assured them all there were no more than 15. They would have no more than 15 siblings.
No, fuck this.
And
No,
there are
fuck. No,
94
fuck that.
as
Fuck
of
that. What the
now,
fuck was you
and
said about
still
that shit?
counting.
No. You said that he didn't know. No, this motherfucker 100% knew what the fuck he was doing. 100%. Guys, this Dr. Klein, I swear to God, when they confronted him, Jacoba made some little coalition with all the half siblings and decided they wanted to meet Dr. Klein. And when they said that they wanted some sort of closure as to why this happened or what was his reasoning, he didn't give any answers. That is true. He didn't give like a solid answers. But you could tell from their testimony that this man was an absolute fucking weirdo. It was almost as if he was experimenting something and he was collecting data. The only reason why he agreed to this whole meeting was so he can collect data to see, which one of my offsprings did okay, or which one of my offsprings are doing better, yada, yada, yada. This was like a weird little experiment for him. And he just found a great opportunity to do that. And the more when this story kept going, the more layers of this shit went down. It went past like him wanting to be just a mad scientist and experiment with his fucking offsprings and see which one does well, to like a fucking conspiracy with like white race. And then it became like a whole thing with like fucking religion. And my God, this shit went 10 years to the left. And I could not really capture what the fuck was going on. Nevertheless, this story was without a doubt one of the most like disgusting things I've ever seen in my life, because you are pretty much lying to these women, and by definition, this could be considered some sort of rape. But what made it so worse was the legality of it, which is something that I think is probably the most interesting part of this story as a whole.
That's the thing, and that says something about, there needs to be legislation passed in the United States about this, because, and I don't know, it shocks me though that
how That shit
no
didn't. That
kind
shit
of.
never made. That shit was never a
But
thing, dude.
listen though, it shocks me that even after these events, it blows my mind that there is no, as a medical professional, that there is no accountability or no repercussions that he would have to face. You know, he did go to trial, but I believe I forget what exactly he went to trial on. But
This man,
it wasn't sexual assault. It wasn't real criminal charges, and they basically let him go with, I believe it was like a $500 fine, if I remember correctly. But you know,
no,
they
because
actually
I
talked
remember
to the
exactly what it
attorney.
was.
What was it that they actually got him on?
So this is how they start. They were so upset with it, and that they decided to see if they can get him for rape, for sexual assault. And the problem with that was this was such a complex situation that that the lawyers and legislators, or the lawyers and prosecutors, had absolutely zero standings on what to charge him with. Because in reality, in regards to this surgery or regards to this operation, this necessarily was not sexual assault.
Well,
This was some sort of, the patients consented to that sort of operations. So therefore, they consented to it, and now all of a sudden they say that they were lied to. They were still consenting to that operation. So therefore, the lawyers had nothing to prosecute them with. That's not to say that the lawyers and prosecutors did not want this man to be punished for what he did. The problem was the fact that they had literally zero legal standings to do it, because this was never heard of. This was never done. This was never ever recorded of this happening. I'm sure it's happened at some point, not with doctors, but with the amount of times that
well,
they
it has
can use
happened.
a sperm donor.
Didn't they say there were a ton of other doctors that have done the same thing? Like since then that they've found out. Like didn't it say that at the end of it?
Yes, but since this case, it opened the floodgates for it. Therefore,
Right.
after the events of Dr. Donald Klein, the state of wherever the fuck they were passed a legislation stating that they are not allowed to do that. Doctors and professionals are not allowed to do this type of action.
We need
the
national
problem
legislation
was
for that, though.
Well, now you have precedents, and it can go to
But
the federal level.
The thing about this case, though, is that, you know, when they interviewed the attorney general of Indiana, you know, he even said, like, as disgusting as it is, legally, he did not commit a crime. So even though it is a very sleazy thing to do, there was no law that he actually broke. Which is why I'm saying this, like you just said, this should set a precedence that is like, this is the thing that should ignite that fire to pass laws, to pass legislation. And even if nothing happens to him, look, I don't care, whatever with him, but moving forward, there needs to be legislation passed so that this doesn't happen again. You know,
bro, it's like, no, like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not denying what you're saying.
So
really,
what are
I'm
you
not.
saying then?
What I am pissed off about this fucking movie. Generally speaking, I did not like the story of this in general. I thought the documentary was great. Well, the story behind this thing,
how would you
is
like it?
It's just a good documentary. But the story behind it is fucking atrocious because of the way the legal system had to figure out how to get this man. They fucked up so many times because they couldn't figure out what to stand him with legally. But my guy, one thing that really was like irking me, and I get it, the family, the kids, and all of them, they are victims, 100%. I do agree with that. My thing is that they went at it the fucking wrong way. They try to get him for sexual assault or some other type of sexual criminal charge, and they try to charge him criminally. When in reality, I'm sorry guys, this was not a criminal offense. This was a civil thing that needed to be taken care of. At which point, because if you read up on tort laws and all that other bullshit, Dr. Klein violated a written agreement, thus violating thus the families and all of them are victims of a civil lawsuit, and they had like civil standings to sue the absolute living shit out of them. Obviously, now in like 2017, I guess he finally like paid some sort of money, some sort of like outrageous money for settling the lawsuit. That's something that should have been done from the get go, and unfortunately, that wasn't the case at the time, and that should have been done right from the get go. They should have just submitted a lawsuit for him, and he would have paid, and he would have lost literally everything. But they didn't do that. They tried to get him for some sort of criminal charges, and unfortunately, that wasn't the case. If you watch that documentary, bro, you literally would hate like the attorney general because they took forever to respond, didn't help whatsoever, and they pretty much said he didn't violate anything. Good luck. But at the same time, and they only charged him with fucking contempt, which is without a doubt the worst fucking thing you could be charged with. It's the littlest thing you could fucking charge him with.
It
It
was
was
worded
like
differently though. It wasn't content. I don't know what it was.
it was contempt. It was intimidation or what, so to speak. And that's like contempt of, no, it's not contempt. I forgot what the word is. It's like something like trying to hide evidence or something like that.
Yeah, I
And
don't remember.
they could only like get him for that. And when the victims, like the children, decided to do some huge like speech in court to try to like get him to like get a worse punishment, what they didn't understand was in that courtroom, he was being charged with uh hiding evidence. Whatever that thing was, he was being charged for that alone. So that speech that the daughters gave, that those like children's gave, or like the offsprings of
The siblings.
Dr. Donald Klein, none of that shit was holding true. None of that shit was not allowed in court because he was only being charged with hiding with the like whatever that is that he got charged with. And that's the worst part. This thing really made you hate the law system. This thing made you hate the law so fucking much because of how absolutely fucked it is. But in the grand scheme of things, yes, this documentary in particular is going to light a fire. I hope there's legislation that comes around, and I hope there's more accountability for doctors and medical professions, just so that they don't have the power or can get away with this type of act again. Because this is such an important moment, man. Like this is such like a big decision, like to do artificial insemination is a really big deal. People need to pray on that shit. It's like it's unnatural, but it's another gateway to having a child. And for this fuckwad, Dr. Donald Klein, to absolutely take advantage of every single one of these mothers and use it for his own gain and scientific discovery or weird cult-like bullshit, whatever his fucking reasoning was atrocious, uncalled for, unjustly, and needed to be punished like to the full extent of the law. Unfortunately, the law was not there to help. And that is without a doubt one of the most disgusting moments of that documentary. And I cannot even describe. My jaw was dropped the entire fucking documentary. I shit you not. My jaw was literally on the floor with my feet because it was like one of the most like disgusting cases I have ever seen in my life. And the fact that this man, Dr. Donald Klein, still to this day is alive and well and still has absolutely zero remorse for what he did. That's like if I can, which is funny because it's like a Blumhouse thing. That's like Michael Myers fucking killing all these motherfuckers throughout the fucking town and then him walking back into the cave. It's like a real life, like he committed this and he's gone. It's like a real life Halloween. I don't know. Fucked up Michael Myers.
I wish the dude all the best. I mean, I hope he, I hope that he understands. Klein. I'm not saying I'm okay.
No, fuck that guy. No, fuck that guy.
My thing is, I hope he understand. Nothing legal is ever going to happen to him. I think the time has passed for that. But
Yeah.
you know, and it even said he still has a lot of supporters in his community and things like that. I mean, like,
Yeah,
whatever.
and that shit goes deep too. That shit was like Scientology for a hot second. I was like,
my
bro, what
my
the fuck is
thing,
this?
my deal with Klein is I hope he understands, and I hope he realizes the ways that this impacted so many people. I mean, this impacted more than just the 94 siblings. This impacted them plus all of their fathers who went almost their entire adult lives thinking that their children were theirs and they're not. Like he'll never be their father. You know what I mean? He might be their father, but he's not their dad. He'll never be their dad.
He
Their
may be your
dad is the
father,
person that
but he
raised
wasn't
them.
your daddy.
There, I know, right? We were talking about Guardians earlier. You know, I hope he understands what this has done to so many people. I mean, even the idea, Jacoba said at one point, she was like, most of us live within a 25-mile radius of Indianapolis. Like, they could go date or marry someone that they don't even know is their half sibling. Like, that's gene pool, and like that's not okay. Like, that is not
I forgot what the
okay. And
terminology was. They used it in the documentary.
I forget all of that, but I just hope that he understands like what he's done to them. I mean, I'm not. It's not
I
my
hope he
place to
burns in hell.
say. Oh my god, it's not my place to say. You obviously have very strong feelings about this. You really do. I do too. But
Yeah, because fuck
I,
this documentary, man.
look,
I
it's
literally stopped this movie 4 times, and Sierra had to play it back. She had to restart the movie because I refused to keep watching that bullshit. But I decided to keep watching. And again, it's a good documentary. But the story of this case was without a doubt one of the most atrocious things I have ever fucking seen in my life.
it's
And I
not my
hope Donald
place.
Klein stubs his toe for the rest of his life.
It's not my place to
Like
say
that's
what should happen to him. It's not like and that's I don't know. You might feel differently. You obviously feel differently than I do.
no,
Um,
no, like
I'm not
I'm
saying
just
he's
saying this.
right, or I'm not.
He
I don't have any
he's
sympathy for him. That's not what I'm saying.
no,
I
that's not
think
what
he
I'm
deserved to
look.
lose his license, get fined.
Look,
I think
all
he
I'm
should have
saying,
gotten way more of a sentence than he had. But it's not my place to say what should happen from here. My biggest takeaway and my biggest hope is I hope that the siblings can make their peace with it and move on. You know what I mean? Because they deserve to be able to move on with their lives. You know what I mean? He's taken enough, which is ironic because he's what gave them life. I don't know. It's so screwed up. But
that's what I mean. It's
he's
such like
taken
a
enough of their lives
complex
from them.
moral gray line in here. Yeah.
Like I hope that they can make their peace with it. They can move on and live happy lives. It's hard, man. It's definitely it's tough, but very well put together documentary. Definitely felt a little horror-ish. I definitely had
It was
that Blumhouse
without a doubt a
horror.
horror type ish. It really made
Yeah,
him into like the shape, so to speak. He'd walk around every time he met up with these people and his half siblings, he had a gun strapped to himself. Every time he went to go meet up with
yeah. It's just not. It's
when he
not
got
okay.
search and seized, he came out with a gun. Like, I don't know. This man was without a
It's not
doubt. He
okay.
is without a doubt one of the most disgusting human beings on the face of this earth. And he can chalk that shit up to his religion, his God. Well, let that man be the judge for what he did. And as I said, this movie was without a doubt this documentary was without a doubt one of the most disgusting documentaries I've ever seen. It was so disgusting that I literally told Sierra, I said, listen, I know we just watched this, but I need to make myself feel better. Let's go watch The Delivery Man. Which, if you guys don't know,
Right back.
is another movie about the same stuff about this certain situation. But it's a much lighthearted movie. It's a funny movie about it. It has Vince Vaughn in the movie, and it's pretty much about this guy named Wozniak that he's a terrible truck driver. He works at his family meat store, and he has no purpose in life. But at some point or one another, he finds out one of a lawyer comes in to his house and tells him that he is that after in like 1997 to like 2002 or something like that, he donated sperm to a clinic, and then the clinic just happened to love his shit so much that there was a mix-up, and they continuously used his sperm. That being, this man fathered 693 children, and Vince Vaughn decided to go to court or whatnot with his whole thing because the kids want to know who the father is. So they're going through some whole ass court battle. And during this court battle, his lawyer gives him an envelope filled with like over 160 of his kids. And Vince Vaughn decided to open the envelope and just start looking at all of his kids. And he was excited, and like it's just such a lighthearted, like funny kind of movie with like a fucked up storyline. But yeah, I needed to watch that again so I could like at least alleviate my fucking self like
Watch what?
mental state.
Our tape?
The Delivery Man.
Oh,
have you never seen it?
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, I already told them. But I'm gonna tell you again. The movie is pretty much. Do you know who Vince Vaughn is?
We have a show about movies. You think I don't know who Vince Vaughn is, bro? Of course.
Okay, I'm glad you know. I'm glad you know who you know Vince Vaughn is. But Vince Vaughn is in this movie, and he's a meat delivery guy, and he doesn't have no purpose in life. But all of a sudden, when his girlfriend tells him that he's gonna be a father, a lawyer comes into his life and says that from 1992 to like 2002, he donated sperm at a clinic, and it just so happens his sperm was so good shit that the clinic decided to keep using his stuff. So the lawyer decided to tell him that he is the father of 693 children, and 100 and some of the children want to know who the father is. So they're going through some whole court battle, and while he's going through this whole court battle, he gets an envelope filled with like over like 100 and something kids. So he decides to check on every single one of the kids and see like who they are or what they are or how they're doing and whatnot. And it's just a lighthearted comedy about this same kind of situation, but not in that same way. I hope you guys understand.
He said his sperm was real good shit.
Apparently, that was literally a line in the movie. He says, "Your sperm is very high quality," and Vince Vaughn was like, "Thanks." So if you guys want to check that movie out, just know Vince Vaughn is, my girlfriend said it perfectly. Vince Vaughn is like a classic. He's just a classic actor all around. If you want a good little fun laugh, watch that.
Yeah.
If you want to watch this fucking thing, if you want to watch it, yeah, I am. If you want to watch Our Father, go ahead. Hate yourself for a little bit. But after that, go watch The Delivery Man, because it'll make you feel better. Okay, so yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Cool.
Fuck Donald Klein. I fucking love you, Vince Vaughn.
Okay, you just went really hard at that. You went way harder than I was expecting.
I'm surprised you didn't. I'm surprised you did. That documentary was 100% one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen in my life. You chose the wrong person to watch that movie, my man. I 100% hated it.
The number one thing that I took away is how bad I feel for all those people. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people that like anytime anything bad happens, I'm like, don't stop giving the bad guy the limelight. I don't care. Screw them. I'm like, I focus on the victims and try to help them. You know what I mean? Like that's like, I feel really bad for those people. I couldn't imagine, like, even now, and I mean, I'm only in my late 20s, but like I couldn't imagine, I mean, being in my mid 40s and figuring out that my dad is not really my dad. Like that would be life-changing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope those, like I said, I hope those people can move on and that they can heal. Art Wishwood, speaking of Blumhouse, he says, "Are you guys going to see Black Phone?" We are going to see the Black Phone.
I am going to see that movie.
It looks really good, man. When does the Black Phone come out? Let's see.
All I know is
next month, like June 24th. June 24th, next month. Yeah, Ethan Hawke looks terrifying in that film. It looks like it's going to be really interesting, you know?
Yeah.
We'll definitely have a review coming for that one. By the way, you made me think of it when you were talking about, like needing to watch something lighthearted after something. Um, I usually don't get like that. Like Julia, when we watched Breaking Bad, she was like that. Some of the episodes of the X-Files, she was like that, where like she would have to watch something lighthearted after we finished an episode of Breaking Bad or something, which she had already seen, by the way. I hadn't seen Breaking Bad. I slept on that series for a long time. But we are watching this show. It's on Hulu, starring Andrew Garfield, called Under the Banner of Heaven, and it's set in the 80s. It's another true story about this detective he's out in Utah. He is Mormon. The majority of his community is Mormon, but there's this family. I don't even remember the Laffertys. There's this family, and I kind of think I know what ends up happening. I looked it up at one point, but there's essentially this really gruesome murder that happens. It's a mother and her infant baby that are like very brutally murdered in their own home. And Andrew Garfield is the Mormon detective, and he's got a Native American partner, and they're trying to investigate this murder and things like that. But it's like essentially they're figuring out that it's like an extremist Mormonism thing where they believe in like polygamy, and it's this whole can of worms. But it's a really good show. Andrew Garfield is really, really good in that show. He's really, really good in everything. We actually watched Tick Tick Boom with him, which was that musical he's in. Dude, the dude can sing. Like, he ain't just a good Spider-Man. He's a good actor. Like, he is a legitimately talented actor. He's really good. But yeah, that show, I'm like, I gotta watch, and I don't usually get like that, but I'm like, I gotta watch something lighthearted after this. Like, it's dark. It's dark, and it's got some heavy stuff. It's very heavy detective-esque. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely like a detective mystery thriller type deal. But it's a little uncomfortable with a lot of the extremists. And I don't mean uncomfortable because it's Mormon. That's not what I mean. It's just some of the extremist things make me really uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's an interesting show. I'd encourage you to watch it.
Religions don't make me feel weird whatsoever. It's just extremist, going far past the notion of whatever the fuck it is you believe in is what really grinds my fucking gears. 100%.
So interesting stuff. Moving on, let's talk our second topic of the night, which is Daredevil. My homeboy Daredevil, man. Again, another series that I slept on for a really long time. I started it, but I never finished it. And in the fall, I guess, when it was, Julia and I actually sat down and watched Daredevil prior to Spider-Man No Way Home coming out. And it's legit probably one of the best shows I've ever watched. It was fantastic. I mean, Daredevil was incredible. And there were, of course, all the rumors prior to Spider-Man No Way Home about him having a cameo in it, and kind of that being his MCU introduction. And once that cameo happened, it was like, okay, it's confirmed. Once the same week but no coincidence, I might add, the same week that Spider-Man No Way Home came out, in the Hawkeye last couple of episodes, we had the Wilson Fisk Kingpin reveal, Vincent D'Onofrio, in the last couple episodes of Hawkeye. So again, I don't think either of those things are coincidence. I think they're that was pretty on purpose, having Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio kind of make their MCU debut in the same, within 3 days of each other. But there is another Daredevil series in the work for Disney Plus, with Matt Corman and Chris Ord set to write. This was an exclusive that dropped a couple of days ago by Variety. That's as legit as it gets. We have that awesome shot of Matt Murdock right there, by the way. Did you like that, by the way, in season 3, that he had that look? That he had that look for the majority of the time instead of the actual like red and black Daredevil suit?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I thought it was him going back to his roots pretty much.
I still like the Daredevil suit though.
I do too. I thought how can I say this? When it came down to at that time, Daredevil was probably without a doubt one of the most like comic book accurate costumes in live action, I would say, at that time.
Right.
and
I'd agree with that.
it was like during like season, like at the end of season 1 and throughout season 2. But then in season 3, they just decided to, create like a whole like fake Daredevil, evil Daredevil kind of thing. Obviously, if you don't know the story, that's as far as I'll say. And it's obviously like a great, and obviously Daredevil Matt Murdock had to go back to his old roots and his Muay Thai rope armbands and all that stuff, and his like little bandana over his face. I personally liked it. I thought he was more gritty in that one. When he was wearing the Daredevil suit, he was very more flashy and stylish. But when he was wearing like street Daredevil shit, oh, he was there to fuck shit up.
Yeah, I mean, it was super back to basics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I thought he looked good in that. So my thing is, what I'm really curious about the story that's going to be coming down with this reboot, though.
That's part of this article. So let's get into this thing. A new Daredevil series is moving forward at Disney Plus, with Variety having exclusively learned from sources that Matt Corman and Chris Ord are attached to write and executive produce. Rumors have persisted for some time that a Disney Plus series about the Man Without Fear was in the works, especially considering that two of the stars of the Netflix and Daredevil series, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, as we just mentioned, have appeared in recent Marvel projects. Cox once again played Matt Murdock, the secret identity of Daredevil, in the film Spider-Man No Way Home, while D'Onofrio reprised his role of Wilson Fisk, A.K.A. Kingpin, in the Disney Plus series Hawkeye, and it now appears that the project is picking up steam with the hiring of Corman and Ord, although Marvel has yet to announce anything regarding the show formally. Reps for Corman and Ord declined to comment. Of course they are. Marvel, that's the thing. Marvel Studios reps do not comment on projects that are in development. That's kind of been a long-running thing for a long time. You're never going to get anything out of a Marvel Studios exec or a rep for anybody who's working with Marvel Studios. Like they don't talk about it. We don't talk about Marvel. Corman and Ord most famously co-created the USA Network series Covert Affairs, starring Piper Perabo, I don't know, and Christopher Gorham. The show aired for 5 seasons on the basic cabler between 2010 and 2014. They most recently worked as executive producers and co-showrunners on the NBC drama shows The Enemy Within and The Brave, as well as the CW series Containment. They are repped by Verve, Entertainment 360, and Goodman Gano. Fans have been clamoring for more Daredevil ever since the Netflix series was canceled in 2018 after 3 seasons. They were in for a long wait, however. As Variety reported in 2018 that the deal with with Netflix, I cannot talk for whatever reason. The deal with Netflix included a clause that prevented any characters from the Marvel Netflix shows from appearing in any non-Netflix projects for 2 years after cancellation. Why the hell? Why? Why would they put that in? Just out of spite? Seriously. Like, what would be the point of that?
Of what?
Of the whole, you can have the rights, but they can't be in anything for after 2 years, or for 2 years after the Netflix show ends. Like, why? Just let them have the rights. Let the character shine a little bit. You know?
I mean, that's just movie business right there,
I don't know. Whatever. It's stupid. That's a stupid clause.
You got to understand that these movie studios, they're not like comic book fans. They're just money fans.
Fair. The move came as Disney looked to bring its Marvel heroes under one umbrella, with multiple Marvel Cinematic Universe shows having since debuted on Disney Plus. Moon Knight, starring Oscar Isaac, was the last such show to premiere, with a trailer for the She-Hulk series starring Tatiana Maslany dropping earlier this week. And that is the whole article. So, with that being said, I believe the people who are writing this have kind of commented, I remember Everything Always is a really good YouTube channel if you haven't checked it out for kind of the Marvel inside stuff. I believe this series is going to stand on its own, but it's still linked to what happened in the Netflix shows. Like, I don't think you'll have to watch the Netflix shows to understand what's happening in this, but they did still happen. It's still part of Matt Murdock's overall story, if that makes it. If that makes sense.
Is it the same writers as the one from Netflix?
I don't believe so. I think
we're in trouble, dog.
Well, you don't know that though. I mean, I know a lot of people. The thing that everybody is always going to jump all over Marvel Studios about, oh, it's not dark enough. They won't make it dark. Shut up. It'll be fine. I know a lot of times they're going to complain that it won't be dark, or they'll take out all the gore. I don't think that's true. I think I'm not worried about that. My biggest question about Daredevil coming back as a series on Disney Plus is, where do you begin? Are we beginning after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home? Are we going to explore what happened when Thanos snapped? Or are we gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like, how are we gonna? Where does it begin? Is it gonna be a standalone? How much is gonna rely on the Netflix series? We're obviously still pretty far away. You know what I mean? If they're just now getting the green light, if they've just hired directors, that means you don't have a script, you don't have a direction. I mean, they're still in very early stages of development. The only good thing is, for Daredevil fans, it is coming. You know what I mean? The wait is like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel now. Whereas for so long, yes, he was in No Way Home, which was a start, but we haven't had Daredevil content for all this time, and suddenly there's hope again, So where would you like to see it start? After No Way Home? Before No Way Home?
I would like for it to start before No Way Home. I would like to see it start at the blip. Because if we don't know, because we have zero stories about the blip, about what happens during the blip. But apparently, from what I read, is Secret Invasions is going to take place during the blip. Yeah, so I think that's something that's going to be really interesting to look into. So obviously, low level in regards to Hell's Kitchen, it'd be really interesting to see Matt Murdock go down a little bit of a dark alley if she all of a sudden he lost his friends. He lost
dude.
He lost all of his yeah.
Could you imagine if that series opened with them it's like Matt and Karen and Foggy sitting in the bar? They're sitting in the bar, and seeing that from Matt's I'm not seeing, but how Matt has his, the world is on fire. Like, he sees without really seeing, like he sees, but not like how we do. What if Karen and Foggy both disintegrated when Thanos snapped, but he felt that differently than we saw it? You know what I mean? That would be interesting from his perspective. Kind of seeing what happened with that. That'd be
so you'd much rather have the story pick up at the blip, and Daredevil was one that survived, not Daredevil was blipped and he came back and now he has to fix Hell's Kitchen again because there was 5 years.
Well, honestly, that's interesting too. Or you could also you start off, you show the blip, and then you jump however many years later. You know what I mean? And then you can start from where No Way Home picks up with the character. I mean, I don't know. They'll figure out a good story. I mean, I have no
because in the Netflix,
I'm not concerned at all. I think it's going to be great. I'm excited to have him back.
In the Netflix episode, in the beginning, like the opening episode of Daredevil, it talked about the events of Avengers, the attack on New York. I know. It talked about it. That's how Matt Murdock and Foggy got that place for.
I know.
A bargain, but
but like it was always there. I mean, if you looked at in the newspaper, every time Karen is in the newspaper, if you looked at all the newspapers framed on the wall, it was all Battle of New York stuff. There was one that said Hulk. There was one Battle of New York. One said Stark Tower destroyed. Like, it was there. You know what I mean? I think they intentionally left those little Easter eggs with the idea that, okay, hopefully one day we'll have all of this under the same umbrella, and we can tie it all together the right way. So I'm excited, man. I'm curious to see how they're going to explore the whole thing. I think it's going to be really cool. So it's going to be dope. I am excited. Now, the main event, the thing you've all been waiting for. Originally, we were planning on saving this show as a way to kick off Halloween season here at the channel, which we have a whole lot of stuff planned, like we've talked about. But we haven't talked about a Halloween in a little while, so we figured, what the heck, let's do it. It's Saturday night. We're all hanging out together anyways. Let's go for it. And if you haven't heard, Evil Dies Tonight. Evil Dies Tonight! We'll hear that a few different times. By the way, if you have not done it already, please be sure to like this episode and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at We Talk the Movies. We would really appreciate that. That helps out a whole lot. So
I would appreciate that.
Wow, you said that like sensually. I would appreciate that. I would. No, I'm kidding. Now, here's the deal. People are going to take this as they're bashing Halloween Kills. They didn't enjoy it. We enjoyed Halloween Kills. We actually really enjoyed it. We thought Halloween Kills was great. But and this is my own fault. I know a lot of people went in with their expectations tempered a little bit. They kind of knew it was not going to be the greatest thing they had ever seen. They're not the greatest thing. They had expectations about what they were going to see, you know. For me, I had very high expectations. I thought I was going to walk out of Halloween Kills going, that's my favorite Halloween movie. That was amazing. I loved every bit of it. And I was a little bit more mixed on it. Would you agree? Were you a little bit more mixed on it than you thought you'd be?
Well, no. Honestly, like I was just there to as a person that didn't know Halloween, was just kind of going in there like, you know, naked and shit. Like
we actually watched it naked in the theater.
Yeah, but I thought it was a decent movie. But I will say the one thing that did find that was kind of weak was the mob. So,
well, and I've wanted to talk about this for a long time. You know, the mob was kind of disappointing for me, and I remember seeing the trailers and seeing everybody going, "Evil Dies Tonight!" Like it was like, wow, like that's really impactful. That's a really cool line. Like we've never seen it. We got it a little bit in Halloween 4 with the dudes kind of, you know, Earl, it was Ted Hollister. Like we got it with the drunk dudes and the pickup trucks, like with the shotguns. We got it a little bit, like light version of it. But I thought this would be that on steroids. And it wasn't. It honestly, I actually rewatched the mob scenes last night. Some of the people in that mob were acting like idiots, like actual fools in that mob scene. I thought it would be a little more organized and a little bit more purposeful than it was. It just seemed like chaos from a writing standpoint. It just seemed like chaos for the sake of chaos, if that makes sense.
That's a mob, dude.
I know, but it wasn't. Let me explain, and we'll kind of get into this too. I made a whole lot of notes. For example, the first time that the mob came together, I feel should have been at Haddonfield Memorial, not at the bar. You know, the bar should have served just, you know, solely as our reintroduction to Tommy and Lindsay and Lonnie and Marion and our legacy characters. They should have been the sole focus of that sequence. I think the way it's not the fact that they wanted to use the mob. I think the whole mob idea was amazing, and I think it was great. And I know everybody was like all the political, like down with the wokeness and the political commentary and all that stuff. That's like whatever. I get that, but I think the idea of using the mob was really, really cool. But I think the execution of how the mob was used in the movie kind of fell short for me. And that kind of ties in to our legacy characters, especially to Tommy and how he was used, because I think Tommy could have been used a lot more. And I think if you'd have used him correctly, his death would have been more impactful. But Tommy's death was just kind of like, okay, like there he went. Like what, you know what I mean? Like kind of whatever. So I don't know. It was interesting. Overall thoughts on the mob, Miguel, and kind of have they changed since the first time we saw it?
Are you asking mine?
Yeah, which we've seen it a few times, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, I'll say this: the mob in and of itself was exactly what I'm sure everyone expected a mob to be, was disorganized and chaotic. But I just felt that the mob was, I guess it seemed a little, how can I say this? It seemed a little tacky, so to speak.
Hmm,
It seemed like the
that's a good
mob
word.
was just supposed to be there to like make the trailer seem exciting, I guess.
Well,
Because when I saw the trailer of Halloween Kills and the way they presented the mob, I was expecting the mob to be a very prominent thing in the movie.
yeah,
And it only in the movie itself, it only was there to serve as like a slight commentary of
yeah.
present day issues, I guess. And while that's cool and all, like the mob could have done away with the mob and it still would have been the story would not have been lost.
Yeah.
You could have just had like a group of people trying to hunt Michael down, and they fail, and then they go to the hospital. That could have made sense, but the mob didn't really make much sense to me in the slightest. You could have
I
replaced
just
the mob with like the police, and it would have been much
yeah.
more stronger of a thing.
Yeah, again, I think it's the way they used it. If and still to this day, and we'll get to this in a few minutes. You said one of the most profound things about the mob that I've heard anybody say since this movie came out. Um, let's look at some specifics because I didn't rewatch the whole movie, but I did rewatch the mob scenes, the scenes at the bar, the scenes in the hospital, the payback scene at the end of the movie. I did watch those sequences, and there were a couple things I noticed. So like I said, I do think it should have been in Haddonfield Memorial in the hospital the first time. But there were good moments at the bar. I actually, one of my favorite cuts in the movie, between sequences, is when Tommy's giving his speech and he's got his beer and he's like, the boogeyman's coming for you. And he's like, there was a kid that's, there were a couple of kids there was a little boy that she was babysitting that night that survived. And he was like, I was that little boy. I'm Tommy Doyle and I'm one of the survivors of Michael Myers. And he goes through his whole speech, which was fine. And when he says, whenever they all hold up their drinks and he's like, hey, here's to you, Lori, this is for you. And he says, wherever you are. And then it cuts to Lori on the back of the truck, like passing out when, and they're like, mom, mom, mom. And they're trying to wake her up and keep her when, of course, the sirens come. Like, that was I loved that. That was a really, really, really cool cut between different scenes. But, even there were other things that I liked. The emergency alert on everybody's phone after the firefighter scene, when they're like, we have a, when Barker shows up. Barker, I'm gonna let you tackle Barker in a few minutes because, but Miguel's got you thought he had strong feelings about Don Klein. Miguel's got strong feelings about Sheriff Barker. Once he's like, okay, once they see the house burn down and all of the dead firefighters and they're just torn through and annihilated, and they're like, okay, call it in or whatever. And he says, he calls in, I don't know if they do it on like the state police line or whatever, but he's like, putting out an APB or whatever on, suspect at large, armed and dangerous, Michael Myers or whatever. And everybody's phones start, how you get emergency alerts on your phone, and everybody's phone starts going off in the bar and they're all like talking or whatever, and it's on the news. Like that was really cool, like cool use of technology. There's a Karen on the TV though, like she's like, they're interviewing people, like when we see Julian on the TV and stuff, and she's like, Haddonfield used to be a safe place and now it's not. And I'm gonna cry about it. You know what I mean? Like she's just got that very like, like vibe to to her on the TV. But like those were cool sequences. Some of the dialogue with the mob sequences is something that kind of bothered me, especially with Tommy. I get it's based off of a 70s and 80s horror franchise. Like, it's okay to have a couple of one-liners in there, but I felt like every single line from Tommy was a one-liner. You know what I mean?
Tommy was pretty much an episode of Full House.
there, but in a horror
Just
movie,
a stacked
like
fill of like one-liners, pretty much.
there were
And that's not
so many
not bad.
weird one-liners in this, and I thought Evil Dies Tonight was going to be like a very profound. He's giving his Braveheart speech, and that's when he starts going Evil Dies Tonight, and that's like the mob coming together and like whoa, but it wasn't. It was just like even Evil Dies Tonight kind of felt like a one-liner. Like it was just like I remember the first time we heard it in the movie theater, we were like, "What? Like already?" You know what I mean? Like we're only like 10 minutes in. But that was kind of interesting. Something that I didn't remember from the first few times watching it. But shout out to we watched the movie on my way to work. I was listening to Mike's recap of the differences between Tim Wagner's novelization of Halloween Kills and the actual like theatrical cut of the movie, and he had mentioned that there's kind of an antithesis moment of Evil Dies Tonight when Tommy goes to grab old Huckleberry off the wall. He slips a few bucks into a tip jar, like a charity tip jar that says "Love lives today," and it's like he grabs Huckleberry and he's talking to the bartender, and he's like, the bartender's like, my daddy gave me that bat whenever, whatever, and he's like, well, how proud do you think he's gonna feel when Michael Myers' blood is all over it or something? I was like, okay, cheesy one-liner, like why, why did you need to say that right then? And he slips a few bucks in and he goes, well, love lives today, and he goes to walk out, and then Marion goes, but evil dies tonight, and I was like, okay.
That was so cringe. I swear to God.
I know. It just it's not terrible, but it's just it's like, did we need why in that moment? You know what I mean? Well, love lives today, but evil dies tonight. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I felt like I can't explain what it was that they're trying to do. But like I feel like that really doesn't hit, I guess, because like again, this is supposed to be like a scary movie, and well, I don't know.
Well, and if you really I don't know.
It's like you're trying to like make a lighthearted moment or something like that, or something.
Yeah.
They're trying to make something light out of like a serious situation, or like they're trying to like put something to ingrain in your head, and it kind of like, how can I say this? It took me out of the movie pretty much. That's how I felt. I felt like it took me out of the movie. Like I didn't feel like Michael Myers was like around the corner whenever they would say "Evil dies tonight." It was like, can you imagine if Michael Myers was just hearing that chant? Michael was probably like, "Dude, what the fuck are you guys talking about?"
You see the blank mask, but under the mask, he's going.
Yeah. I thought 80s sitcoms died in the 80s.
Well, you know what? It's funny. It even reminds me of that scene in SpongeBob when they're like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? But even in the bar, like everybody went from like 0 to like 3,000 because they're all sitting there, they're all drinking, they're having a good time, they're laughing, they're cracking jokes, and then they get the emergency alert and they're like, what? And they're like, hey, turn that up, and they turn the TV up and they listen to the news for a minute and they're like, there's an escaped inmate, they're not releasing his name, but here's his picture and all this stuff and whatever, and like they realize something is wrong. And then when Vanessa runs back in and she's like, Michael Myers, it's him, he's in my car, and whatever else, everybody, they go from being like concerned, like slightly concerned, to like, and it's just like, what the whoa, like where did you, like, how did we get there so quickly? It makes sense for Tommy to be that way, it makes sense for Marion and Lindsay and Lonnie to be that way, but for these random people in the bar that decide to be all like badass all of a sudden, like, why? You know what I mean? It's again, it's like, how many times do we have to teach you a lesson, old man thing?
It plays into like the whole like mob mentality thing, because it's like some people really just are in the mob to be in the mob.
Yeah.
Like there's some sort of like power you get with like being inside like a massive mob of this magnitude. Yeah. So I think that's just the way it is, because it's like you don't want, it's like a weird like FOMO kind of thing. So like imagine if like the entire mob decided to go and one guy or a couple guys just stayed, they'd probably be like, what are these fucking losers? You know what I mean?
I know, right?
So obviously they have to come out. And I'm pretty sure after like the speech And after the speech in a bar, and they're talking about the whole Halloween thing, picking up on like generational trauma and all that shit, and they're all sipping down, fucking Course Light and shit. Yeah, that shit will get you impaired. So anyone that thinks so, like, imagine this. Imagine if Tommy gave that speech, they sipped their last sip of their last glass of Keystone Light, and then some guy across the bar was probably like, well, you know what? We should probably just talk to Michael. That dude probably get his shit whipped all across the fucking boardroom. Like that's literally the amount of tension that was going on in that fucking thing. All it needed was a fuse to light up that power cake. And I guess Old Man Rivers, poor guy, was the match that lit that fuse.
What kind of beer you think they drink over in Haddonfield? Probably
It's
like
Keystone.
Busch Light. Keystone
No,
or
it's
Busch
Keystone.
or one of them cheap.
Yeah, it's Keystone.
It's like you can buy it for like $2 at the dollar store kind of thing,
$2 at the dollar store. Jesus Christ. You're obviously not living in inflation.
Yeah. Well, and if you notice, I also noticed this as Tommy goes to walk out the door and he puts Huckleberry over his shoulder. The bartender goes, "Ooh, Tommy, don't go mess him up." It's just like, what is going on?
It's the alcohol, man. It's the alcohol that impairs your judgment.
I was shocked at how many one-liners were like, I don't know. I realized it the first few times, but I was just like, what is going on? And it's weird. So, like, again, with the weird Tommy lines and the weird things Tommy does, they all walk out of Mick's bar. Everybody's kind of like they're on edge. They don't know if they should like go away. They don't know if they should be all like, like, oh, hold him. You know what I mean? They don't know like what the deal should be. And Vanessa's like, he's in the car. Even if Tommy thought that Michael was in the car, why does he start hitting her car with the bat? He walks up and he goes, boom, like one time with the bat. And it's like, bro,
it's like, what's up with the intimidation thing? What's up with the thing of like, what's up with like playing with your food before you eat it? It's like, bro, why hit her car? First off, it's her car. Don't hit her car. Right? Hit the guy inside the car. What the fuck is wrong with you, dog?
Bro, wouldn't you be pissed if somebody walked up to your car and hit it with a baseball bat, even if there was a serial killer inside?
I'd be like, yo, dog, this is my Pontiac. Fuck the dude inside my Pontiac. Don't fuck up my Pontiac, dog. Like, just calm down. Kill the dude inside it.
And then poor old Mr. Tivoli speeds away. He doesn't know how to drive. He speeds across the road and he wrecks the car.
And bro, he should have read wherever the fuck Michael was reading the fucking insane asylum, because for some reason Michael can escape the insane asylum at like fucking 20 and drive a car like he's a pro. Poor old Trivoli couldn't drive it for shit.
But it's funny. When Michael escaped the bus after it crashed, Michael probably looked at all the other inmates wandering around and he's like, amateurs. And he like drove the kid's car away. But again, one of the weirdest lines in the entire movie, he goes, I'm going to take his mask off, look him in the eye, gonna swing old Huckleberry here. And then he goes, and he kisses the bat like he's Negan from the friggin' Walking Dead. And then he goes, and night. And it's like,
and night.
I'm going to take his mask off, look him in the eye. I'm going to swing old Huckleberry here. And then night. And I was sitting there watching it last night and I was like, did this really happen? Like, why do I not remember it being this cheesy? Like, I don't understand. It almost even feels a little slightly odd, like how Paul Rudd Tommy was in H6, how he's kind of like weird, and some of the delivery of his lines are just, his work isn't finished in Haddonfield. He's coming back. He's home. Like, it was just how it was kind of weird. Like, it was just off. They felt off. Like, the delivery of the lines just felt. It felt very 80s cheese to me, and that might have been what they're going for. And look, you might be listening to us right now, and you're like, they're digging way too deep into this. Like, I get Halloween Kills was supposed to be a fun, energetic middle chapter, and that's what it was. It was a fun movie. Maybe I don't know what it says about me. Maybe I'm thinking about it too seriously, if that's, I mean,
No, because this was supposed to be a fun movie. It's supposed to, but again, you're supposed to feel immersed in this fucking mob.
I
And
expected the
as for
story to
someone
feel a
like
little bit
me
more
and you,
mature.
yeah, for someone like me or you to be in that mob, I shit you not. If I was in that mob and I kept hearing Tommy like saying that shit, I'd be sitting there like, I'd be like, dog, shut your shit up and let's find this guy. Like, shut the fuck up. Okay, yeah, Evil dies tonight. That's cool and all. But guess what? Evil's still alive and he's still fucking people up. Let's go find him. Stop saying shit. Stop talking your shit and walk your shit. Because I swear to God, if I hear Evil dies tonight, Huckleberry is gonna go right up your ass. Because I'm getting tired of hearing that shit. And then
Dude,
I'd be next to like some other mob people and be like, yeah, Evil dies tonight. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You don't know who the fuck this is.
Well, that's the other thing though, is a lot, and again, the mob mentality, you jump in just for the sake of jumping in, like jumping on the bandwagon. But a lot, like all of these people that were all like, especially in the hospital, that are all like, ah, like, let's kill him, like, they're being all crazy. They're people that have no personal vendetta against him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
there's zero vendetta.
It was weird. I'm not gonna lie, I envision you exactly how you are right now. Star Wars shirt, sunglasses, and all. Like Chivoli drives the car across the street, and Tommy's doing his whole you swing old Huckleberry here, night. And I envision you like, would you shut up? Like drink in hand and all, be like, look, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go find this guy. No, I'm gonna finish my beer first. We're gonna go find this guy. Be like, Mick, be like, yo, you gotta pay for that. Be like, hey, we got a situation here. I'll pay for my beer later.
Yeah,
Take
bro.
the beer with you.
Honest to God, it's like the I pull like the fucking Joey Diaz saying. It's like, bro, I don't know why. Give me 3 badass motherfuckers and we'll take them. Like if you got 3 badass friends, you could take over a country. Like, nah, fuck this mob mentality. Hey, Jerry, Tommy, Billy, come on, we gonna go find them.
Yeah. Now the scenes with again, there were good stuff. There was good stuff with Tommy and some of the one-liners and stuff too. Like, for example, the scenes with Allison leaning out the windows of the car when Lonnie is driving, and she's like, everyone go back inside. The streets aren't safe. That was dope. Even Tommy, when he started taking charge, and he was like, you cover 14th Street to the bypass. Get back to me if you see anything. Like all this stuff. That was really cool. That's what I thought the movie could have used a little bit more of. This chaotic, crazy, fast-paced atmosphere, almost like what a zombie movie has, like during the outbreak when things are pandemonium and they're trying to organize, but they got to get everybody on the same page. And then that gives you an opportunity to unite and organize, like rising up through the chaos. But as we'll talk about in a minute, that didn't really happen. We went back to more cheesy one-liners and more evil dies tonight and just like some weird tonal choices that we made. Even Brackett, some of the lines we'll get to Brackett in a minute too, but like even some of the weird lines he delivers, we're just like, was that necessary? Like, did he need to say that just now? So interesting stuff. J-Dead is in the house. He says, yo, sorry I'm late. Couldn't find my shades to wear. Like, cool, Miguel. No worries, man. You got to have shades on. You got to have shades on.
These are women's sunglasses.
My shades aren't as cool, but
gender is just relative.
Gender is a concept. Are they women's sunglasses?
They 100% are.
Really?
Yeah.
You have no shame, do you?
I have zero shame.
You have no shame.
They sunglasses. Fuck off. They look great on me.
I know, right? You are a sexy man, I gotta say.
Fuck me.
Now, let's talk the elephant in the room, which are the sequences at Haddonfield Memorial. This is after the park scene. This is after Vanessa and her husband both die. After this is for Dr. Loomis. Which I know a lot of people hated that line. I actually thought that line was pretty cool because she's like, this is for Dr. Loomis. And the gun is cocking and he just goes like, oh, well, so could you imagine? Yeah. He's like, so is this, like, he's like, tell him I said I don't care. And he starts to kill her. All of that stuff was cool. Michael looked dope in that scene. I still want to know how a 60-year-old man just went, whoop, on top of the car like that. I mean, it wasn't like the flat station wagon like it was in '78. He jumped right on
Nah,
top.
dog, that was a GMC fucking. That was a heavy SUV, and this man just like hopped on that bitch like he was a track star.
But
You're right, he a track star.
We get to Haddonfield Memorial, and again, the building up of the mob stuff was pretty cool. Allison, Cameron, Tommy, Lonnie realizing they need more people, more factions of the mob out searching for Michael, going through houses, going through neighborhoods. It was some pretty decent buildup to something that didn't deliver. It didn't really happen. Like, we decided to focus more on Tivoli than we did on them fighting Myers. Now, this is where at this point in the movie theater, I was like, what the hell is happening? Like, what is this? I don't understand. And this is where it was very interesting. It wasn't just us, because we were in a packed house the night we went and saw it. And people were laughing. People laughed a lot during our showing of this movie. And we saw it opening weekend, so it was still pretty fresh. It was, like I said, it was packed. And there was a lot of laughter in that theater, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It wasn't as much, and which is cool. I mean, that's good. That's fine. But, interesting. J-Dead's theory, he says, the way you describe a 60-year-old leaping onto an SUV, he's got those Reebok pumps.
Reebok pumps. Fucking hell.
Can you imagine? As soon as he jumps off of the car, like when the car doors open and Marion says this is for Dr. Loomis, he pulls up his pant leg and he's like, and he shoves off the kicks, all the other kids with the pumped up kicks.
I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. I'd love to rewatch the movie, and I would die laughing if I ever see Michael Myers wearing fucking Reeboks and not like the fucking carpenter boots. Yeah, that'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah. But this is the part of the movie where I was like, what is happening? So the cops come in, they get Lindsay to the hospital. The cops come in. And they're like, we're putting the hospital on lockdown. There's a curfew. They want everybody to go home. Like, the cops are doing a terrible job at trying to contain the situation and get a grip on things. And listen, Tommy looks like he's on speed in the hospital or LSD. Like, he's just like the entire time in the hospital for no reason. Like, literally, the dude, like, the cops are like, the hospital's on lockdown, and the cops are kind of walking around the hospital, whatever. And Tommy's like, the boogeyman is at large. And it's like, sit down. Like, again, you'd have been sitting there still with your half-drank beer. You'd been like, bro, sit down. Like, they got it. You don't need to do that. Like, just stop, sit down, let them. They got it. Don't worry about it. But he's like, the boogeyman is at large. Everyone, stay calm. We need you. We need you to band together. Whatever. Why he felt the need to suddenly get everyone's attention when the police were literally trying to do their job is beyond me. But then he gives the whole thing about, he is an apex predator. He is a shark, and he's going like he's just going buku again. He said,
"Damn, Michael Myers, a lot of fucking animals."
It's like he dropped.
I'd have been like, Michael Myers is a honey badger. Honey badger don't care. Honey badger just kills.
It's like he did a line before he started talking. And then he, my favorite thing about that scene is when, two things. Brackett, first of all, Brackett could have just been like, Brackett could have said something profound, but Brackett goes, 40 years ago, he killed my daughter, desecrated her body. And then my favorite thing is when he goes, Michael Myers will be executed tonight, and he goes, and evil dies tonight. And this random lady in the back that is completely irrelevant to anything that's happening goes, evil dies tonight. And it's like, who are you? Like, what connection to this situation do you have other than you're in the hospital right now? Like, for real, I don't know. I don't know. It's a very strange.
I would say
very strange thing.
The more I keep thinking about this mob, I keep thinking about like the mob that like was tracking down Frankenstein's monster. That's what I keep thinking of. It's like a bunch of people that don't really know who this thing is, and they're just there to like, they just know that there's a monster out there and we need to kill it.
Yeah. They don't know what
Pretty
he
much.
looks like. They don't know what they're looking for at all. There is
Mhm.
no. I mean, we get all the fancy talk. We get the fancy talk of Tommy being like, he's an apex predator. He's a great white shark. He's whatever else he says.
He's like,
You
okay,
know,
cool,
he's
but
the
I'm not hunting a
boogeyman.
great white shark in fucking Indiana. Like, help me. Like, description of this man. Like,
I know, right?
he's a fucking apex predator. I said, okay, cool. Those are traits. I need physical traits. I need features. I need facial features. He's a great white shark, and it's like, okay, again, sharks don't fucking walk. What does he look like? So it's like, bro, what the fuck?
You'd have been sitting there. You'd have been like you're sitting there trying to get all that from Tommy. And you're like, okay, whatever. You turn to the cops. You're like, y'all got a mugshot or anything? They're like, no, we don't. You're like,
they're like, bro, what the fuck we doing here then? It's like, Tommy, go home. I don't know who I'm looking for. I would have been like, all right, let's just go home because I don't know who I'm looking for. I don't know what we're doing here. All I know is that Evil dies tonight. Well, you know what? If Evil dies tonight, I hope it dies tonight because I'm gonna sleep. Evil dies today. Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed.
He's like, I'll tell you what dies tonight is the back of my eyelids. That's what's getting ready to die tonight. J-Dad says, I justified the whole mob scene by telling myself Haddonfield suffers from a meth epidemic. Then it all makes sense. That's not what. Oh no. That's not what I meant to do. Oh shit.
The random lady was that dude that Michael impaled. Oh my god.
I just blocked J-Dad and I did not mean to. I blocked him
get
for
that
5
shit
minutes.
Back.
Oh shoot.
We lost a fan. J-Dad, if you're ever going to watch this show again, let me just say that I do apologize on Brad's behalf. This was by far worse than him fucking up some lines. This goes so far beyond.
I clicked the wrong. I was trying to bring up his other comment. Oh, shoot. Wow.
J-Dad, I apologize on Brad's behalf.
That sucks. I did not mean to do that.
Let me offer my sincere apology.
I feel like we need like a moment of like 5 minutes of silence for that. Wow, I suck.
No, hard. I just after this podcast, you better fucking fix that shit, dog. Because I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I can't change it. I don't think. Like, let me. I don't know. I can't. There's no blocked users or.
Did you block him for like 5 minutes? Is that what it says?
It just says was blocked for. I put him in timeout. Basically, that's what it was. I put the user in timeout, and I didn't mean to do that. Shoot. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go on. I didn't mean to do that. I hope he comes back in. So that.
Bro, just write something down. Say, hey, J-Dad, I'm sorry.
I did. I said didn't mean to do that in the chat. So hopefully,
okay, good deal.
If J-Dad, if you can still hear me, I did. I meant to pull up your other comment, and I stupidly did not. I clicked put user in timeout. Anyways, I clicked the wrong. I clicked the wrong thing. I'm so sorry, man. So anyways, Derpy Gaming is here. What's up, Derpy? I accidentally just put J-Dad in timeout. So let's. I apparently
just try not to put you on timeout.
I need to relinquish controls of the chat, apparently. With the hospital thing, the random chick, Chance Evil dies tonight. And, here's the whole thing. The thing with me is like, with the whole Tivoli thing, I know a lot of people didn't like that. I know a lot of people were like, oh, the Tivoli thing was a complete waste of time. They shouldn't have done that at all. It shouldn't have mattered. But like, I didn't mind it. That was one of the more emotional moments in the movie because like, I felt bad for him. Like I actually felt horrible for him, dude.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. He's wrong. He's the only person in this movie that I had absolute sympathy for.
Like he legitimately did not do anything wrong.
Allison lost his mother, his dad, her boyfriend, her everything, and I still feel bad for Tivoli.
But and that was the other thing again about the stupid decisions with the mob. They were like, "Oh, that's him, that's Michael," and it's like, "But what?" Lori said, "But wait, you don't know what he looks like."
That's what I was saying. I would have walked up to Lori's room and I'd have been like, "Draw me a sketch and let's find him." But no, apparently not. We had to go with fucking Tommy's like great white shark thing. And I guess fucking Travolta,
somebody
Great
would have
White
looked at you
Shark.
and
So someone was like, get him.
Somebody would have looked at you deadpan serious and been like, but he's wearing a mask. You'd been like, so what does the mask look like? Like, give me something. Like
something.
Help me.
Is he
help
wearing
you?
Is he wearing a Dickies overalls? Okay, I can work with that. Guess what? Trivoli wasn't wearing a Dickies overall. He was wearing a fucking white gown.
I know. Well,
like,
it
what
said
do we do
Smiths
here?
Grove. It said Smiths Grove Penitentiary on the back of it. So, like, I mean, I don't know. I whatever. But it's like the blind leading the blind with the mob, you know? And maybe Tivoli does die. Maybe you have that kind of subplot going on there. But the thing that should have brought you was their saving grace, Tommy Doyle. Tommy could have been the thing that united the mob, that pulled all of these people together. These people are like, we just killed the wrong person. Like, we're all guilty of that because we chased him.
Instead, they all just do the fucking Loomis thing in Halloween 2 where he just is like, and just keeps fucking moving forward.
Yeah. Well, even again, it's like the blind leading the blind. Once Lori sees Tivoli and she's like, wait, that's not him. And Lori and Karen start like trying to push people back. And they're like, but that's not him. And she's screaming. You realize Lori actually screams at one point. She goes, you fucking sheep, that's not him.
You
she
fucking
called him all
sheep.
She said, you
That's
effing
right.
sheep, that's not him. And
bro, I love how the fact that the mob like idolized Laurie Strode. They raised a glass to Laurie Strode.
I know,
and
right?
yet nobody was willing to listen to her.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there you go. That's just Tommy.
And then, of course, she needs the doctor, whatever, and like completely opens up all the surgery that they just did on her like an hour and a half ago. But I don't know. There was literally a guy. I kid you not. Go back and watch it. It's when Karen is trying to help Tivoli through the hospital, and she's like, I'm going to keep you safe. You're okay. And he's scared. He doesn't know what to do. And she locks him in the thing, and it's showing Tommy and the mob like running up the stairs in the hospital. There is a dude in that crowd of people that is literally running up the stairs going, going up the stairs like that. Like literally, I was sitting there going, like, as I was watching this last night, I was like, I don't remember this. I don't remember it being this, like,
yeah,
kind of wild and buku,
it turned like a fun thing.
You know?
Like that's what was really interesting about the mob was the fact that it was low key kind of like a generational trauma mob, but it was also kind of like just a fun thing to be in for some people.
Right.
It was like, hey, I can be in a mob now. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Societal rules don't matter to me anymore. So because I'm in a mob.
That dude was excited. He was like, he was excited to be there. You know what I mean? And it's like
give a man, give someone a little bit of chaos and watch the spiral that they go down.
Yeah,
pretty much. And that's pretty much the antithesis of
chaos.
I mean, Joker, you literally could have put the Joker's like whole speech over this entire scene with the mob. It'd probably hold up.
Yeah.
The whole idea of chaos and all that stuff.
Even when he's in the scene with the interrogation scene, and he says, "You watch," and he leans back, he goes, "When the chips are down, these people will eat each other." And it's true.
Much,
I mean, it's true. The social commentary was not the problem. And I think that's where everybody goes. And they're like, oh, they tried to make it woke. They tried to do this, blah, 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 blah. I don't think the social commentary was the issue at all.
I thought the social commentary was good.
Yeah, I think that was fine.
In regards to the story as a whole, it didn't help the story. In my eyes, it did not push the story at all.
It didn't help the story in terms of A, making Michael scarier, which we'll get to in a minute, and B, it really didn't add anything to the layers of our legacy characters. It didn't add anything. It was like, even when the mob stuff is done, it's like, okay, that's it. Done. After they kill Tivoli, you know what I mean? It just it was very strange. I don't know. Derpy Gaming, that's interesting. He said, I didn't watch Halloween Kills because I thought the 2018 reboot / sequel was awful. Interesting, man. So you didn't like 2018 at all. It's interesting. I thought 2018, for me, the first time I saw it, I was a little disappointed. I liked it. It was fine. It wasn't Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 or anything. I did enjoy it a lot. But I found that subsequent times watching it, I've enjoyed it more and more and more and more and more. I don't know. Maybe Halloween Kills will be that way. Again, I didn't watch it straight through last night. I just watched the mob stuff. I kind of skipped around a little bit, and I watched a couple of the scenes just because it was cool. Julia was actually sitting there. She was reading a book. I was doing that in bed, and she actually looked over during the firefighter scene because I let that like play out, and she was like, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty sick. I was like, I know, right? Like that's the thing is, we enjoyed Halloween Kills. J-Dead is back, dude. I am so. Could you hear us the whole time during that? I am so sorry. I meant to click on your other comment, and I blocked you for 5 minutes, and that's not what I meant to do at all. I didn't mean to do that. So
Brad
so
is that
sorry,
toxic girl you like that keeps blocking you and unblocking you.
I know. I would never block you, dude. I'm so sorry. But anyways, so 18 is a movie that's grown on me like quite a bit every single time I've watched it. My wife really, really enjoyed 2000. It's interesting because my wife, who had never seen a Halloween movie before, well, I made her watch 78 before she watched 2018. And my mom, who had never really seen it before, they both really, really enjoyed 2018 a lot. Like, we've actually watched 2018 quite a few times because Julia really enjoyed it. Which is cool. I mean, so 18's grown on me. I think my prediction is that Kills will be the same thing, where the more and more I watch Kills, I think I'll enjoy it more. Do you think so, Miguel?
I like Halloween Kills more than 2018. So
really?
Yeah.
Fair. I don't know. I need to. It needs to sit for a little while. Like, we've had time to sit with 2018. I don't think I've had enough time. We haven't even had a full year to really sit with Kills yet. So, and we will do our commentary. That's on our list of stuff we need to do for the fall. So we will do a Halloween Kills commentary at some point. Jaded says, I couldn't hear or see you all through my rage. Dude, I'm so sorry. He says, JK, I saw what happened. All good, bro. I was so, as soon as I clicked it, I was like, oh, I didn't mean to. Derpy says, I'll admit the kills were pretty great, but the people in the film weren't smart and it was just very dumb. I could see that. More in Kills than 18. Derpy says, you'd think what they've been through, the town would have had more preparation or something. Well, here's the thing with the preparation, though. I mean, if 40 years later, it makes sense for Lori to be preparing, but people wouldn't care. I mean, people it's out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? Yeah,
people
exactly.
Forget.
People, I think that's kind of what I chalked it up to, is people forget about that. Now let's think about this. If Halloween 78 and Halloween 2 were both canon, I could see the town being a little bit more completely. I could see the town being honestly, Kills might make more sense if Halloween 2 was canon. It might.
Yeah.
Because that I believe that people are mad. Because it could have been like, oh, Michael killed my mom, or Michael killed my, my aunt or my uncle or whatever, or because his body count would have been more in 78.
Yeah, you could have had like strangers start talking about how Michael killed one of their loved ones.
Right.
And it could have been someone from, the sequel whenever he was fucking people up in the hospital.
Even the doctors and the nurses and the staff in the hospital who also joined the mob.
You know what? That would have been interesting. That would have been an interesting story if Halloween 2 was in there, because then that hospital would be
Exactly.
affected by it. They would
Yes.
understand. There would be a history on that. There would be a memorial for those
Yes.
that died in that hospital.
Yes. Absolutely. Um, like they would have a vendetta against that. I'm like, okay, cool. I get that. J-Dead says, I think we can't judge 18 or kills till we see ends in the trilogy as a whole. I respect that too. Honestly, I mean, that's definitely a thing. I think, and from what we've heard, we haven't heard very much about Halloween Ends, but I think as a whole, Halloween Ends is going to feel tonally, not story wise, but I think tonally, it's going to feel far more like 2018 than Halloween Kills. And again, Halloween Kills was meant to be wild and crazy. It was meant to be the fun middle chapter where you just get to see Michael unleashed to the world, just wild out in his element doing what Michael does. And the Michael stuff in Halloween Kills was fan freaking tastic. It was like it was some of my favorite Michael moments we've ever gotten in the franchise. But again, where I think it fell short, and we both enjoyed Halloween Kills. But I mean, I have the poster, I have the mask, I have all kinds of Halloween Kills stuff in here. I have another Halloween Kills poster up here. I think where it fell short was in the mob, which is why we wanted to do this episode, and I've wanted to talk about this for a long time. You know, maybe you have the thing with Tommy, kind of going back to him, is again, I think Tommy could have been the guy that picked people back up after Tivoli and said, hey, we got this. This is going to work. Here's how we're going to take him down. Let's organize. He could have had the Braveheart moment in the hospital. That's not, he's a great white shark. It could have been a real honest, heartfelt speech about taking back their trauma, their paranoia, taking back their fear, something that uplifts the mob. That is where Evil Dies Tonight should have came from. If you would have had this big Braveheart moment, and at the end of that speech, he goes, Evil Dies Tonight, and then everybody starts chanting Evil Dies Tonight, that's like, oh, okay, like this is cool. The mob is organized. They're ready. This is going to be a battle. This is like the battle for Haddonfield. Let's go to work. Let's take him down, you know? Then you have, you know, when you have a group of unified people, not in a cringe way, chanting Evil Dies Tonight, that means something. Maybe you even have a scene where Laurie and Hawkins can hear them chanting from the hospital room, and they hear Evil Dies Tonight getting louder and louder, and they kind of sit up in bed and look at each other, and it's like they're gonna take him down. Like this is gonna be it. This is it. They're gonna take Michael down. But we didn't get that. You know what I mean? At that point, as an audience member, you'd be hyped. You'd be ready for the battle. You're like, here we go. Let's do this. That way, when Michael kills Tommy during the payback scene and he just rips through the mob, then it's impactful. Then you're sitting there again going, like, that if the mob would have been approached more, I don't want to say maturely, that sounds insulting to the writers, and that's not how I mean it. If the mob would have been approached differently, I think when Michael does just go to work on the mob, and when he kills Tommy, it could have been a much more emotional, impactful moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because this mob was 100% like a failed mission from the start. Like
Yeah.
I knew from the get-go that there was a failed mission. But if they would have done it, if they would have approached it the way you described it, it would have been much more of a more hurtful way of ending it, because we knew the mob was not going to work. We knew the mob was just a failed mission from the get-go. But the way you're talking about, the way you think it should have been presented, I probably would have felt more emotionally attached to the mob than what it was then.
Yeah. And not just people being like running around with their, chickens with their heads cut off. And going back to what I said earlier about, you said one of the most prolific things I've heard about Halloween Kills. And that was that, and you said it before we even saw the movie, I think. You had said that the idea the thing that makes the idea of the mob scary is that at first it's not organized. It's a bunch of scared, armed civilians that decide to just take the law into their own hands out of fear. But born out of that is that Braveheart moment, that 300, this is Sparta, you know, moment that we never got, where Evil Dies Tonight could have been born. That moment where the mob does fail. They do accidentally kill Tivoli. But through that experience, that's almost where they find the inner strength and the courage to band together and organize, to make a plan. And that's where Evil Dies should have came from. Not Marion going, but Evil dies tonight, you know, almost comedically, like spitting that line out in the bar. What would have made that whole plot scary is if the mob has that inspirational moment where they come together, and the thing is, they still lose. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that way, when Michael rips through them like a dog that just found a pack of hot dogs, you feel something. It's like that paired with Tommy dying and Karen dying at the end of the movie would have been like
ain't nothing stopping this man. Yeah.
I know, like evil won. Like what now? You know what I mean? That would have meant like left you feeling like, what do you like? Where do we go from here? Like who? Like you bring in the National Guard? Like who? You know what I mean? The Army, the Navy? Like who stops him? Like what is this? You know, and I feel like we never got that. I just don't think. I don't think it reached its full potential. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really glad you've said that, and that stuck with me since you said that, you know, 30 episodes ago. That's stuck with me every time I think about Kills. I'm like, man, like, what could it have been if we would have had a different approach to the mob? And you could have still done that's the thing, is the social commentary still would have worked. You know, it still would have worked. It still would have made sense. So I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on the hospital scenes. Do you have anything else you want to share before we keep going?
No, none so far. I mean, in regards to the mob, I mean, I've pretty much spoken my piece with it, if I'm being honest. The grand scheme of things, the mob was it was a fun ride, but in regards to having it in the movie, I truly did feel it was like an out of the movie experience, pretty much for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And, you know, I think there was something that just kind of felt satirical about some of the tone with the mob.
Satirical is a good word for it.
Yeah, like, and not fully, not like it's a comedy, or not like it's not like it. I don't think it was meant to be satirical. Although, I mean, it is Danny McBride is a writer, so I mean, I think there are moments that it could be like that, but overall, I thought, at least the way the trailer presented it, I thought that the mob would be very epic and dramatic and serious, and it just kind of felt like it was a little shoehorn, you know, like, here's the mob, like, they're gonna go crazy and there's nothing gonna come of it. I mean, even the payback scene, like, it would have made the whole payback scene where Karen takes the mask and like leads him through the streets to the mob when all the lights kick on and she says gotcha again. That would have made that like, oh, here we go. Like, this is it. Like, here we go. This is the moment we've been waiting for. It's Michael versus the mob when they sit and screw him up, you know? Mm-hmm. But again, that even going to the payback scene, that takes you to when Brackett looks at him and cocks the gun and goes, it's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare. It's like, oh my God, why? Like, why did he need to say that right then? You know? Mm-hmm. I just don't understand. Like, what is it with the cheesiness to it? I don't know. J-Dead says, what we need that we didn't get in Kills is a new final standoff that's unique. That would have made that final standoff more unique. I think it was all in the buildup of how they did it. And it didn't have the proper, it didn't progress in the right way, you know, to get that done. You know, and of course you can never forget about the bravest soul to ever grace a screen in a horror movie, which is the lady who brought the iron to fight Michael Myers in the street. Can't
That's
forget
a
about
bad
her.
motherfucker right there.
Man, you could shoot him, you could stab him, you could hit him with a baseball bat, but man, the iron was the thing. That was the kicker. She's gonna take him out with that iron.
She saw Michael Myers and said, "Honey, you need your overalls. Your overalls are wrinkly as fuck, dog."
They're burned. They're all bloody. We gotta get them. We gotta get them.
We gotta get that fixed, dog.
Yeah. Oh, Jaded. That's a perfect way to describe it. He says my final thoughts on the Mob was it had it was B movie level acting combined with what seemed like a rushed script. It was the only low point in the movie for sure, man. It was definitely the lowest point in the movie for me. Even moments like, you know, again, kind of going back to Tommy, seeming like he's on LSD when he runs up. Like, did he really think it was a good idea to run through the hospital when he bursts in Laurie's room to blindside her with the fact that Marion is dead, Michael has survived? Like, he just blindsided her with information, and she was even like, "What? But wait," and she was like, "Karen, but what is he?" You know, and she was like, "Mom, I didn't know how to tell you. Like, I didn't know. I wanted to be sure. You know, all this stuff. Like, I don't know. Tommy was. I thought Lindsay was handled well. I thought, for the most part, Marion was handled well. I really liked Lonnie. Excuse me. Although Lonnie didn't really have a huge part. In the original, they kind of gave him a little bit more. Really, we just had the whole the boogeyman is coming when they push Tommy over at school, and then they have the whole Lonnie, get your ass away from there. We had that whole moment when Loomis scares him away from the house. But like, Lonnie didn't have a super big role. I mean, I felt like we missed an opportunity to really have impactful moments with the legacy characters. You know, I don't know. How do you think they should have treated the legacy characters differently?
I would say probably give them a little bit more limelight, I guess. Not much like there for an exposition of what happened before, because that's pretty much all it was. The legacy characters over there were just there to give exposition on what happened in 1978. That was it. There was no further progression of any of them in the story.
Yeah.
Tommy was just a scared little boy who used his fear to drink and create a mob only to die and be scared again. Lonnie became a hermit, didn't really care about anything, and guess what? He died in a fucking attic. Lindsay and all of them, Marion was only one that I was actually interested in, but guess what? They threw her away too. And Lindsay, she's the one that survived, right?
Yep.
She's the only one that I'm actually interested in now because she's one of the only legacy characters that's not Laurie and actually has some good grounds to actually grow as a character.
I actually thought Lindsay was one of the best parts of the movie. Kyle Richards actually kind of killed it. Like, she felt serious. It didn't feel like super overly dramatic. Like,
yeah, she wasn't trying to prove. She wasn't trying to prove to us that she wasn't scared anymore. She knew the shit was going to hit the fan.
Yeah,
she was like, "Kids, get the fuck out of here."
And she made pretty logical decisions. Like, when she saw him like attacking the car, and she put all the bricks in her bag, and like, even she got a couple of good blows in on him that none of the other ones got. You know, even Tommy. If the mob wouldn't have beaten him to the ground, Tommy wouldn't have had any actual blows on him with the bat. You know.
Yeah.
But Lindsay, she had all the bricks in the bag, and when he turned his head, she actually she hit him quite a few times. You know. So, I mean, I don't know. I thought Lindsay made pretty good decisions. I believed her more than any of the other legacy characters. So I'm glad she survived. I'm glad to see what she does moving forward for Halloween Ends. You know, I do think that Halloween Kills will be loved more and more as it gets older. And we did enjoy it. Again, we enjoyed the movie. This is just kind of really deep diving into like that one subplot, this mob aspect of the movie. And I don't know what it says again about me or you, but like, you know, taking it super seriously. This is us just kind of being our sweaty nerd moment for a minute. You know, like I think at the end of the day, It's about a crazy dude in a mask that kills people. Like, it doesn't have to be Titanic or The Shawshank Redemption. But I felt there would, I kind of, based on the trailers and what we had heard and the idea of it, I guess I built up in my head that it was going to be a little bit more Infinity War than it was. I thought it was going to be a little bit more serious and epic and dramatic than it felt. You know, tonally it felt a little strange. You know, J-Dead Lindsay was awesome, and I really liked Lonnie's character. I hated that he got Lonnie was actually pretty good. Lonnie kind of surprised me a little bit.
He was a little bit of redemption arc.
He was a pretty down to earth,
but then he got fucked.
God, he did. Dude, you know who the worst death in that entire movie was? Cameron. Cameron got it in like 12 different ways, you know, and he was scared. Like the unkillable scene when he bursts out of the closet and he's not doing it. So he's like, thump, 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 thump. Like he's walking quick because he gets stabbed and beaten up and thrown down, and his head, he does the whole, you know, playing xylophone on the staircase with his head, you know, and it just, I don't know. He got it bad. But again, not saying anything bad about Halloween Kills. It was a hell of a fun ride. And I'm really looking forward to the hype train for Halloween Ends as well. Be sure to look out for our commentary of Halloween Kills. Definitely coming soon. We have a whole lot of stuff planned for the summer. We have a whole lot of stuff planned, especially for October. October is going to be a busy month here at the channel. And we're really excited about it, especially with Halloween Ends coming out. A lot of stuff we want to do. So that is going to do it for us. Episode number 75 of Let's Talk Movies. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please be sure to leave us a like if you have not already. Leave us a comment down below. What did you think of the mob story arc in Halloween Kills? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it could have been better? What would you have changed about it? Again, we enjoyed it, but this is just kind of taking a deep dive into this one aspect of the movie. We do new shows every single Tuesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern. This show, which is called Let's Talk Movies, and Purely and Simply Evil, where we take deep dives into classic horror films from the 70s and 80s and 90s. Please be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. As always, you guys are the absolute best. God bless every single one of you. We love you. Have a good weekend. See ya.
See ya.
Evil dies tonight!